What if I told you that everything you learned about World War II was a lie? Not just a little bit wrong, but a carefully constructed narrative designed to keep you from understanding how the world really works. The history books, the movies, the documentaries, they all tell a story of good versus evil, of clear-cut heroes and villains. But the real story, the one they've been hiding for almost a century, is far more complex and much more disturbing. This isn't the history your teacher taught you. This is the history they don't want you to know. Let's start with the money. Wars aren't fought for ideology alone. They're fueled by cold, hard cash. And the Second World War was the most expensive conflict in human history. So, who paid for it? The official story is about war bonds and national sacrifice. But look deeper. You'll find that powerful international banking families and corporations were funding both sides of the conflict. Think about that for a second. While young men were dying on the battlefield, certain entities were profiting from every bullet fired, every tank built, every bomb dropped. It wasn't about patriotism for them, it was about profit. They played the world like a chessboard, moving nations like pawns, and cashed in on the chaos. These weren't just German companies or American companies. They were global entities, with no allegiance to any flag, only to their own bottom line. They created a crisis, and then sold the solution, enriching themselves beyond imagination, while the world burned. Now, let's talk about Pearl Harbor. The day of infamy that propelled a reluctant America into the war. We're told it was a complete surprise, a dastardly sneak attack. But was it? There is substantial evidence suggesting that high-level officials in the U.S. government knew the attack was coming. They had broken Japanese codes. They had intelligence reports. They tracked the Japanese fleet across the Pacific. Why would they let it happen? Because a direct attack on American soil was the only thing that could unite the country and overcome the powerful isolationist sentiment. They needed a catalyst, a public outrage so profound that it would demand war. The tragedy of Pearl Harbor was not a failure of intelligence. It was a calculated sacrifice. A pawn was removed from the board to justify entering the game. The sailors who lost their lives that day weren't just victims of a foreign enemy. They were victims of a cold, geopolitical calculation made by their own leaders. And what about the technology? We hear about the V-2 rockets and the first jet fighters, but the rabbit hole goes so much deeper. Both the Allies and the Axis powers were experimenting with technologies that would sound like science fiction, even today. I'm talking about advanced propulsion systems, exotic energy sources, and even research that bordered on the paranormal. Much of this research wasn't just abandoned after the war. It was captured and classified. Operation Paperclip is the most well-known example, where the U.S. government secretly recruited over 1,600 German scientists, engineers, and technicians to work on American projects. They brought their knowledge, their research, and their secrets with them. These classified projects didn't just disappear. They went underground, forming the basis of black-budget programs that continue to this day, operating outside of public knowledge and oversight, pushing the boundaries of what's possible, all funded by your tax dollars without your consent. The war's end wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning of a new chapter of control. The post-war agreements, from Bretton Woods to the founding of the United Nations, weren't just about ensuring peace. They were about establishing a new world order, an order designed by the very same people who profited from the war. They created a global financial system that funneled wealth and power into their own hands. They built international institutions that gave them a veneer of legitimacy, while allowing them to pull the strings from behind the curtain. Look at the world today. The economic inequalities, the endless conflicts, the political systems that seem to serve a hidden elite rather than the people. This isn't an accident. It's the result of a plan set in motion over 75 years ago. The world you live in, the rules you play by, the limits you feel on your own potential, they were all designed in the aftermath of that great conflict. So why are they still hiding this in 2025? Why do they fight so hard to maintain the sanitized, storybook version of the war? Because the truth is a weapon. The truth would reveal that the systems we trust are not what they seem. It would expose the fact that the real power doesn't lie with elected officials, but with a shadowy network of global elites who operate beyond borders and above the law. If people truly understood how they've been manipulated, they would stop playing the game. They would stop fighting each other over manufactured divisions of politics, race, and religion, and they would start looking up at the real architects of their struggle. They hide the truth because the truth would set you free. And a free, awakened population is the one thing they cannot control. The patterns are all there if you know how to look. The same strategies of control, of profiting from chaos, of sacrificing the public for a hidden agenda, are still being used today. The world hasn't changed. The game has just become more sophisticated. You see it in the media narratives. You see it in the financial markets. You see it in the political theater. You are being managed, manipulated, and milked for your energy, your wealth, and your compliance. The greatest lie they ever told was that you are powerless. The truth is, your awareness is the key. The moment you stop believing their story and start questioning everything, their power begins to crumble. This isn't just about history. This is about your present and your future. This is about reclaiming your mind and your sovereignty. Are you starting to see the connections? This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy fact, hidden in plain sight. The history of World War II is the master key to understanding the power structure of the modern world. It's the red pill. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. The world will never look the same again. You'll start to recognize the patterns everywhere. You will finally be awake. I know this is a lot to take in. It's designed to challenge everything you've been taught. If this information is blowing your mind, if you're feeling that spark of awakening, then hit that like button. Let me know I'm not alone by commenting I'm awake below. This is more than just a channel. It's a community of truth seekers. Subscribe and hit the notification bell, because every week we're going to be pulling back the curtain on the history they don't want you to know. Now, for those of you who are truly ready, for those who aren't just here to watch, but are ready to act, if you're tired of being a spectator in your own life, tired of being on the outside looking in, while a select few accumulate all the wealth and power, then listen very closely. Watching videos is the first step. Taking action is the next. If you're done with being average, and you're ready to start winning, to become part of a group that operates on a higher level, then I have an invitation for you. Send your CV, your resume, to startnow1995 This is your chance to join the Johanna Tribe. We are a tight-knit, loyal family. We are a collective of winners who understand how the world really works. We know that real power comes from community and shared purpose. Each member of the tribe pledges 10% of their earnings back to the group. Why? Because we reinvest it. We create high-level opportunities that are only available to members. We protect each other. We build massive generational wealth together, and we do it fast. This is how the real 1% operates. They don't do it alone. They do it in powerful, exclusive circles. We have limited spots available because we only want serious people. People who are committed to leveling up and are loyal to the tribe. If you're ready to stop being a pawn and start being a player, email your CV right now to startnow1995 @gmail.com. This is your moment. Don't let it pass. Welcome to the tribe.